potential for the 2022 Texans. Mike, where do you think they go from here, given that expectations and the Bengals and Lovie Smith and that chatter?
Well, there's no fire alarms going off right now as we do this, but there was a fire alarm when the Texans announced Lovie Smith as the head coach, and the man with him, Nick Caserio, the general manager, has a big decision to make, and that's Deshaun Watson. They sat on Watson for an entire year for obvious reasons. Watson demanded a trade. Then there's the legal situation that is still they're still going through that process, the civil suits and whatnot. But I look at this team and I say, time to rip the Band-Aid off. Time to get what you can for Deshaun Watson. Turn this team over to Davis Mills, who did a terrific job last year. In his last 5 games, twice over 300 yards, 4 of those 5 games over 200 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, about 68% completion percentage. This guy showed you something. In fact, he had the second best rookie year of any quarterback aside from Mac Jones. That's better than Zach Wilson. That's better than Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, on and on it goes. He really showed you something. Lovie Smith didn't want to commit to him long term. He basically said, well, we know he's a good player. We'll see where this progresses. But Davis Mills showed you some great signs. Remember, he was a 5-star recruit going to Stanford, dealt with the bad knees. But if they can wheel off Watson for a couple first-round picks and players, that would be very beneficial to that organization. 1, to just wipe the slate clean in that regard, and 2, to continue to build up a roster that, as you mentioned, has 31 free agents. That's a huge number. Yeah, the top rookie in the 2020 class, Justin Herbert, both tutored by Pep Hamilton, and Pep staying on as offensive coordinator for Lovie Smith could be big for the Houston Texans. Meanwhile, you mentioned the 31 unrestricted free agents. Where do they prioritize to help build a winning roster in 2022? Yeah, it's a really good question because I think they need players all over the place, right? Offensive line, they spent big money on Laramie Tunsil, brought him over in a trade. He wasn't on the field very much for them last year. There's some talk that maybe they could be shopping him as well as they continue to try to reset the roster. But I think when Caserio looks at it, I think it really all comes down to just find good players. Doesn't matter where they play. You can never have enough, and they clearly haven't had enough over the last couple seasons where they've had 4-win seasons. So to them, it really is best player available at a bunch of different positions to continue to build this process up, surround Davis Mills with some talent, and see if he's your quarterback of the future.
So the Texans had back-to-back 4-win seasons. Let's talk about now the Carolina Panthers, who had back-to-back 5-win seasons under Matt Rule. And Mike Giardi, we'll have much more from you a little bit later. Meanwhile, we'll continue to talk about the